What's up, maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today, I am doing a different type of video. So I'm bringing you a Black History Month playlist exclusively on my channel, WrestleManiac UK. And I'm teaming up with different Black wrestling enthusiasts, creators, fans, and just people that really care about the culture as a Black wrestling fan. And of course, as it is Black History Month at the moment and I want to talk Black wrestling, who else is there to start with than starting with my guy ADazzle, Black Wrestling Alliance. You guys often see him on this channel when we do our Wrestle Extra show every Wednesday. It comes out on this channel, so tune in. But yeah, there's no one better to start with than ADazzle from Black Wrestling Alliance. And you guys have been asking me for lists, right? Mex, make lists. We want to see some wrestling lists. So this is going to be first of many lists I'm going to make. And this is going to be top 5 future WWE champions or WWE women's champions of African American or Black origin. This is going to be the very first list I do. And I've got ADazzle helping me put it together. So you already know it's going to be a good one. Like I said, guys, it's going to be a whole playlist on Black wrestling exclusively on this channel, and I'm gonna top up those videos every time Black History Month comes around. As a minimum, I'm gonna top those up, so you're always gonna get new content on that playlist. So guys, before we get into the video, you know the drill. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and also hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the top 5 future WWE champions. What's up, maniacs? So as you know, this is our Black History Month playlist mini-series where we're really looking into Black wrestlers in the scene of yesteryear, present day, and particularly in today's episode, the future. So there is no way I can discuss anything about Black wrestling without bringing on the big man, ADazzle himself, friend of the channel. You guys know we have Wrestle Extra every week posted up on this channel every Wednesday, and it is also available on Affinity Extra radio station. But ADazzle, he's here to join me today. Black Wrestling Alliance, how's it going?
Bro, it felt weird being the one not doing the introduction.
Turn the tables.
I'm good, man. It's cold in the room where I'm at, but you know what? Let's warm it up, man. Let's talk some Black wrestling and
100%.
see what we can do, man. Let's go.
So before we get into what we're actually doing here today and everything, I need everyone to just make sure you're following Black Wrestling Alliance. In terms of myself getting into wrestling again after a long period out, Black Wrestling Alliance, and just knowing there's other Black wrestling fans from the UK as well. We're not from the same place in England, but it's all UK. It's not that big.
Course.
So,
Of course.
I would definitely say, Black Wrestling Alliance, ADazzle, he's been instrumental in kind of really pushing the Black wrestling scene worldwide, not even just in the UK. I remember when we first started speaking, you said a couple of people thought that you were American.
Yeah, man. Still do.
Yeah, so he's done massive things, and still doing massive things. He was very instrumental in putting together our Wrestle Extra show, kindly got me involved in that, and I'm very grateful, kind of helping to put myself and everything we're trying to do here on the map. So,
sure.
Yeah, if we just quickly, what made you want to focus on Black wrestling?
The quick version of the story, I've told this story so many times, but it doesn't get old. But the quick version of it is basically been a wrestling fan since I was at least 8. I'm now 35. I don't look it, I know. It's all good. So for a very, very long time, especially from when you get to about teenage years, it's kind of like it's not the norm to really like wrestling anymore. You know what I mean? So for a very long time, I was very quiet about my wrestling, my love for wrestling and stuff like that. So maybe about 5 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to be all about what I'm about, just in life in general. Wrestling was a big part of it. Being Black was a very massive part of that as well. So I just married the two, and also married my love for branding and graphic design, which is what I also do as well. And kind of tried to merge all three things. And, it is what it is. It kind of started out really just me trying to find Black wrestlers. As I found them, I would post about them. And then that just blew up simply because no one else was doing what I do, more than anything else. And we are now where we're at. yeah, man. And I'm just trying to build on it as much as possible in every way, shape, and form for everyone to get involved, be confident about being black, being a wrestling fan. And of course, now with yourself, it's also as well about being a black British wrestling fan, which is even more of a
niche,
niche. Yeah, that's the word. So yeah, man, that's where it is.
Guys, I'm pretty sure that ADazzle manages the biggest dedicated black wrestling page in the world. Someone needs to prove me incorrect if I am, but I haven't seen anyone bigger, so that's the levels we're dealing with today. So anyway, we're here on the show to discuss a top 5. You guys asked for lists, so I'm bringing you a list in the shape of this. Top 5 future world champions. Now, that could be in whatever promotion, AEW, WWE, whatever. We're talking about people that have never won the world title as of yet, but they are destined for it. They are showing all the signs that they are world championship caliber, and one day their day is gonna come in the sun, and they're gonna win the big one. So we've both curated a top 5. A little birdie told me ADazzle's is a bit more than 5, but we're gonna get into the honourable mentions, let's say, before we hit who should be at number 5. So, I'll let you start.
All right, cool. So my list was not 5. It wasn't difficult. I must be honest. I did choose my 5, but then a few others kind of came into my head. But I have reasons why they're not in the top 5. But I think some people would have them in their top 5. This is why I'm mentioning them. So I'm gonna kick off with one guy who everyone would definitely put in their top 5. But for me, things have changed, and I'm just like. My first one is Velveteen Dream.
You know what? I forgot this guy off my list entirely, but I hear you. I hear you.
There's a reason why everyone would want to put him on their list, but I think because of recent events and things that have been going on, and I think just stories that I know of, nothing like major, but just like the way he interacts backstage and stuff like that. But most definitely because of recent events with him, the scandals that he's been involved in, whether true or not, neither here nor there. But Velveteen Dream is definitely one that we all saw as a future world champion. He still has the potential, of course. It doesn't change his skill level. It doesn't change what he's capable of. I just don't see it as much him being backed in the same way that he probably would have done, that he was about a year, 2 years ago, basically. That's the only reason why.
That's probably true. Like I said, I totally forgot him, which is not for good reading. I hope I haven't mentally, blocked him out, basically. I cancelled him or anything like that. But yeah, totally skipped my mind. But yeah, he was in a lot better position than he is now.
Yeah. I think the fact that he skipped your mind kind of slightly proves the point as well, to be honest. I think it slightly proves the point. My other one is from AEW. And it's someone that I see, but he just didn't reach my top 5, only because it's still early days. Yeah. Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks most definitely has the caliber, the charisma, the ability, the look, everything. Everyone has likened him to The Rock in many ways, and I think he is very much like that. The Hollywood Rock, not the real Hollywood Rock.
Yeah.
The Versace clothes wearing Hollywood Rock. I think, I don't think he's purposely tried to do that. Whether, more than likely very much influenced by that, but I don't think it's kind of like a carbon copy thing that he's doing. He's very much himself. But the simple fact he's been likened to The Rock and that stage of his career tells you a lot. So he's the only other person that I would have had in my top 5, but my 5 kind of pushed him down just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my first 2.
So Ricky Starks I considered for my list, but I guess when I get onto my list, there's someone that I've put kind of as his equivalent, which I feel there's more of a chance in the immediate future anyway.
I think I have the same thing. I think I've got the same thing.
Okay, we'll see. We'll get there. I think I have one honourable mention. It's Apollo Crews. And that's just because I think he's built like someone that could be a world champion. Obviously,
for sure.
Character-wise, we are probably still quite some way away from that. He's shown quite good improvement in recent months with the help of MVP and that storyline. But
for sure.
yeah, Apollo Crews for me would be someone that I would possibly mention as a future champion if all the ingredients are there, more than just the in-ring ability. Cool. So let's get into our 5. I'll let you start with your number 5, and then I'll let you know my number 5, and then we'll see who should be the rightful.
Go from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 5 is my number 5 is Montez Ford. Straight away Montez Ford. He has everything that you need for me. The look, the charisma is on top, the ability. He is very much, I would say he's very much, and I don't like to do the comparison thing, but just to give people an idea to, get their heads going a little bit, or to make it easier for them to really understand it. I kind of almost see him as almost like a Shawn Michaels-esque type of world champion. In terms of course, he's not the big guy and all that kind of stuff, but it would be his character, it would be his storytelling. He's just got it all, and I've already envisioned this whole, like, not so much a celebrity, but like a rich, that kind of rich guy gimmick. He's always coming out smartly dressed and swaggy. His clothes just swag and all of that kind of stuff. So to put then a belt on him, whether it be heel or face, I think he'd carry it nicely. I can't wait. I'm itching to see him do his singles thing.
Yeah.
Whatever championship that is, whether it be IC, whether it be United States, before he gets to any kind of world championship, I'm itching to see him for his singles run to begin. Not to rush the Street Profits thing, because I want to see that kind of longed out a little bit more as well. But Montez Ford on his own, just be ridiculous, bro.
Cool.
Yeah,
I won't even debate that. So we'll leave the debating to when we're forming our definitive list. I'll let you know who my number 5 is, and it is Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
Now, again, with what I just said with Apollo Crews, is very much the look. This guy has world champion in recent times as well. We've seen him kind of propelled a bit further up the card. He's faced Drew McIntyre for the world championship. I don't want it to be too late before maybe one day they give it to him and it's seen as like, the legacy thing for your years of service. We're giving you the world championship.
Right.
Like
Mark Henry.
Yeah. Give it to him while he's hot. Give it to him while it's deserved. Obviously, the Hurt Business right now is one of the biggest talking points in wrestling. So, put it on him while he's young, able to go and can move and can give us a story that is deserving of a world champion. And I think they kind of brought him in on the premise that you're gonna fight Brock and you're gonna be up there, and that's never happened. Which I don't know. Yeah, it may never happen. That's very true. So, number 5 for me, Bobby Lashley.
Okay, cool. So my number 4 ties in very closely to my number 5. It's the only female on my list, and I'm going with Bianca Belair. It definitely goes off the back of number 5 because I'm waiting to see them two as like the power couple.
Yeah.
Because it's there. I saw it 3 years ago, you know what I mean, when I just found out about who they are and what they're about, the fact that they were together and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, they're now married. And we've seen Bianca Belair's rise. We've also seen, of course, Montez Ford's rise as well in the tag team division. But with Bianca Belair, I think it's kind of like... I think it's criminal, literally criminal, that she was never NXT women's champion.
100%.
It's still possible. It's still possible, of course. We know that. But at the same time, I think they kind of missed a trick in the time that she should have won it. So we had this kind of like this year or year and a half where she was battling with, I think, Shayna Baszler for a bit and a few others. And she faced Shayna Baszler. It was her first championship opportunity. And she lost. Everyone was up in arms. I wasn't. I was like, okay, you know what? I don't think she's just ready just yet.
Just yet, yeah.
Just yet. at the time there was no one else to really take. I think it was more so the fact that there was no one else to really challenge Shayna Baszler. So everyone was like, just put it on Bianca Belair. Everyone was kind of sick of Shayna by now and whatever. But later on, when we had this whole thing with Charlotte and Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, bro,
You missed it.
I was like, you missed it, man. You missed it. Even if you ended up having the whole thing with Charlotte and Rhea, fine, no problem. Whoever came out on top of that, boom, have Bianca coming at them straight away. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. She's now on Raw. We're seeing certain things hopefully building for her in there. But yeah, a world championship on Bianca Belair is now paramount. So yeah, Bianca Belair number 4, definitely.
That's great argument. My number 4 is actually Montez Ford.
Okay, yep.
Copy and paste a lot of things that you said. And as I was saying earlier on, Montez Ford is my kind of direct comparison to Ricky Starks.
Yeah, very similar.
A lot of the same qualities there. I would like to see Montez actually win it as a heel. Or if he won it as a face, soon turn to a heel, because I enjoy how he is now, but I think with this attitude and the amount of charisma he has as a heel, like Ricky Starks, he could be gold, like literally. And I just think maybe because they have in WWE the 2 world titles, there's just more of a chance where he could kind of pick it up before Ricky Starks on AEW. So
that's very true.
Yeah, it doesn't leave good reading for Angelo Dawkins. Sometimes I feel like Angelo Dawkins' mom. Like every day I'm just worrying for this guy. Like I'm just so scared to see what WWE are gonna do with him once he's away from Montez Ford. And I hope he flourishes and still gets to show what he's about. But I think Montez Ford for me, number 4.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Okay. So we're now getting into the nitty gritty. Now my top 3. All 3 of them could easily be number 1, but I'll tell you reasons why they're in the positions that they're in, and it's all different reasons. Not because I don't think necessarily my number 1's better than everyone else. But yeah. So number 3 is Keith Lee.
Okay.
Number 3 is Keith Lee. I think a lot of people probably would have had him a little bit higher, 2 or even 1. And that makes complete sense because currently he's on a bit of a run. Obviously, he's coming into Raw as kind of being used as a top guy almost straight away. Obviously, only a month ago he was double champion on NXT, holding both the NXT and North American Championship. And the guy is just money. Right now, I think he's been a little bit misused in a few ways, more of aesthetic more than anything else. Where he's in his position, it's fine. I don't mind. It doesn't have to be pushed straight to the top straight away and all that kind of stuff. I don't mind that too much. But I think for me as well, age isn't necessarily on his side either. So
how old is he? Like mid-30s?
I think so. But I think mid to late 30s. I think he is. I can't remember.
Okay.
But I just feel as though, compared to say a Montez Ford. Obviously Montez Ford has got 5+ years to on him in terms of making it and stuff like that. So it needs to happen quite quickly. I think quite quickly doesn't necessarily mean in the next year, but they definitely need to be kind of keeping him up there. And we all know he's got the ability, he's got the charisma, he's got, that it factor that makes him very different to many others. His size and still being able to do what he does. How WWE use that is another thing altogether. Yeah. It'll be interesting. But yeah, number 3, Keith Lee.
Cool. That's fine. My number 3 is Big E. And to be honest, like I was gonna say, the top 3 could probably move around.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, my number 3 is Big E. If I'm being completely honest, he's probably here just because of his moveset. His moveset for me personally has never been like the most interesting moveset compared to maybe some other people on this list, especially. But it's the bags of charisma. Like, literally, you can put this guy in any scenario. Like, he's captivating, very interesting. Even when he was doing, you know, his like bodyguard gimmick with Dolph Ziggler and stuff, like the facial expressions, and you know, he wasn't even saying much those times, but it's still the presence. You know, I think for the best part of 5 years, I've been hearing people say that this guy needs to be world champion. This couple months ago or a month ago now, they said they're going to embark on this singles run, which he's on. Hasn't really kind of shown us that where we're going with it, sort of thing. He is just having singles matches and maybe building those up first. And you know, like I think we've even said on Wrestle Extra that, you know, they might just put the Intercontinental title in him first, see the crowd reaction before it's a thing where, yeah, let's give him the big one. But I think definitely, as Kofi said, we're not going to wait 11 years for this one. You know, this has to be done sooner rather than later. And yeah, I think Big E definitely is someone that needs to hold the World Championship before his days are up.
For sure. I will argue your number 3 spot. But I'll get to Big E in a little while. My number 2 is Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
The biggest reason why Bobby Lashley is at number 2 is because of time.
Yeah.
More than anything else, I think it's very important for him to become a world champion within the next year or so. As you said earlier when you mentioned Bobby Lashley, you know, strike while the iron's hot. We saw what he did with Drew McIntyre, which was great. And to be honest, as much as it would have been way too early for Drew to lose, it still would have been a great time for Bobby Lashley to win.
Yeah.
So I would have been happy. I would have been absolutely fine if Bobby Lashley won that feud and won the World Championship then. Where he's at now, it's okay. I think it's okay. It's kind of, if it's a case of buying time a little, then it's fine. If they've already kind of given up on putting a World Championship on him, they're absolutely wrong.
Which may be the case.
Absolutely wrong. It very much may be the case. But yeah, as you said, with what's going on with the Hurt Business, how MVP's come in and kind of taking him under his wing, and you know, we've seen Bobby Lashley as a world champion before in TNA. Obviously, he was absolutely dominant, had every single championship that there was at one point.
Yeah.
And he was an absolute beast, and it was off the back of that got him back into WWE as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, so what are we doing with this guy? So why did you bring him back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know how they do it from now, but they need to get him back up on that top spot, and put a world championship on him like very, very soon, especially with MVP in his corner and Shelton and Cedric behind him. It would just make complete sense. Yeah. It would be so easy to write, so easy to execute. It would just be great. And like I said, I think for me, the reason why he's at my number 2 is more about time. Is what, 40, 41?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, we ain't got time. We ain't got time to mess about anymore. You know what I mean? We don't have time to mess about anymore.
Them bones are gonna start freezing up.
This is what I'm saying, man. He's moving great for his age, of course, and he's doing some great things. And we've seen a bit of a development in his ability as well. Even in the time that he's been in WWE, he's been able to develop.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just need to do something with him, like real quick.
That is fair. Cool. It's looking like we've got the same people on our list. It's just a matter of positioning, so we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. My number 2 is Bianca Belair. I think like, this may be a bit early to say, but I think she may just be the best black female wrestler that I've seen. If it's not her, maybe Ember Moon.
Okay.
But in terms of just sheer ability only, it's one of those two.
For sure.
Bianca Belair is really way up there for me. And it was this kind of same series that you said in NXT, going back and forth with Shayna Baszler. I remember one of those takeovers. I was watching it live. Bianca Belair got pinned, or she submitted, whichever one. And I literally threw the remote of the TV across the room. And that is when I knew I was invested. And obviously, when this comes on in this country, this is like 2 a.m. in the morning. I made a ruckus. Like, I was thinking, what the hell is this, man? Come on.
Right.
Like, she has all the ability. Her not winning the NXT Championship, like you said, is an absolute crime. Can still happen.
Absolutely criminal.
But it will really depend how they position NXT, because before it'll start looking like a downgrade, if you see what I mean.
Right. Of course.
But right now, you know, Asuka has been very hot in the last couple of months with the whole Sasha and Bailey thing. They have began to drop the ball on Asuka again. She needs challenges for the Raw Women's Championship, you know. It looks like they're going to use Bianca Belair on TV very soon. And maybe it's too early for some to put the Raw Women's Championship on her now. They need to build her up a bit. But she's got to be there. She has got to be there. And for women, you know, we're having the age discussion as we're doing this. For women, they tend to win these championships earlier on in their career because, you know, in their 30s, they tend to go off to have babies and stuff like that. So,
That's true.
You know, Bianca Belair, I'm not too sure how old she is. Probably early 30s, late 20s maybe. But yeah, she definitely needs to win that women's championship. And the character work, the sass, the attitude we're gonna get once she has it, like it's gonna be too much. It's gonna be super entertaining. So yeah. She's my number two.
Before I go into my number one, I as I said with both Bianca and Montez, I would love to see them both as champions at the same time.
Yes, that would be good.
It would be phenomenal. Even if Montez had the Intercontinental Championship and Bianca had, you know, a world Women's Championship, title, like, it would just be crazy. It'd be crazy. So my number one, obviously you've mentioned him already. My number one is Big E. I just feel it's long overdue. I felt as if it's long overdue.
You think it's overdue already?
I think it's long overdue for like about 3 years, if I'm completely honest. Even with all the stuff with Kofi, I'll be very honest. It took me a while to actually be invested in that Kofi as world champion story. With the build up to WrestleMania, at least anyway. By the time we got there, I was all for it.
All in.
I was completely all in. But if I was to choose anyone in the New Day, say, you know, before all of that kind of started, it would have been Big E straight away without question.
Yeah. I think for
straight
everyone,
away without question. I think so as well. I think with a lot of people, it still would have been Kofi because of his longevity and all that kind of stuff. And he probably should have been something bigger before that and all the rest of it. I was never that guy. I never felt as if Kofi should have been a world champion.
Yeah. Same.
But I saw Big E and I thought he should be world champion. His size, his charisma, him being able to do anything you give him. He can be silly, he can be serious, he can be real. You know what I mean? All of that there. He can talk for days. He was, for me, or is, the real lifeblood of New Day.
Yeah.
For me, it's him. As much as New Day themselves pushed Kofi forward, or their main thing was to push Kofi, and it worked out. For me, Big E just has it all. So for him being on the singles run now, I'm completely excited. It's taken. I don't feel as if it's taking long. In the sense of where he's at now, and it's only feuding with Sheamus and he isn't, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you said this. It's kind of like we don't completely know what they're trying to do or where they're going to take him.
Bro, so the problem is because they announced it. Oh, we're doing, he's doing single. Right. So we're all here twiddling our thumbs waiting to see what's going to happen with Big E. Look at Jey Uso. Right. Jey Uso just went straight past him to the main event.
Yeah.
Of course, he's involved in a great story, but
of course,
they never announced anything. So the minute you announce it, you've created anticipation. So
right. Right. So they need to do something with that anticipation. As I said, even if it's just an Intercontinental Championship first, fine, but let it happen real soon.
Yeah.
As I said, there was a bit of an altercation with him and Sami Zayn about 2 weeks ago. Whether they can build on that, I don't know. It kind
As
of was
in a real life thing?
No, not real life. There was something very minor on SmackDown.
Oh,
It was
you
a very
told me
minor
this, but I
thing.
missed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very minor thing. With now Sami Zayn as Intercontinental Champion. Will they visit that? I don't know. But they need to do something with Big E very, very quickly. And as I said, the reason why he's on my number one is because you could put it on him tomorrow. Obviously, you need a decent story first, but with his ability, how he is, the way he's received by fans, all the type of things that you need to check off as a world champion, he's got it. It's there, ready to go. Let's make it happen, like now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's me.
That's 100.
Definitely.
That's true.
Definitely.
So my number one, none other than the limitless one, Keith Lee. I'm gonna make another outlandish statement. He quite possibly is the best big man I've seen. Definitely, maybe in recent years.
Okay.
You know, for someone his size, some of the things he's doing is just mind-boggling. Yes, he's been called up to Raw, and for me, that the less I say about it, the better. Even somewhat now, I feel he's been forgotten. I think his inclusion in the Drew McIntyre Randy Orton storyline kind of slowed that feud down for me, because that feud was pretty hot. But they wanted to kind of put him in a good position. I understand that. It just didn't seem to work. I think that we were all kind of caught up with his presentation rather than what he was actually doing. And I said it in a video on Monday, I think they're not letting him be Keith Lee. We're not getting the charisma. He's just like some mute guy that's coming out and doing good matches, but he's got more to offer than that. So, you know, let him be Keith Lee. It always boggles my mind. It's like you call up someone on NXT because you see them doing good things from NXT, but then you come here and it's like, okay, let's change this, let's change that. But I think which we'll get into in this next debate bit. For me, he is the one person that seems like it is most likely it is going to happen. Again, it could happen very, very soon. Like, if they wanted to just put it on him, I think they probably could do it and get away with it. So that's my number one. So pretty much we've got the same 1 to 5, 5 to 1. It's just a matter of who is going to sit where. For me, now, Bobby Lashley, I think, is last for me. You had him where? Second?
Second, yeah.
Because of time.
Second. Because of time. Nothing else but time, if I'm completely honest.
So I have him fifth just because I think they're not going to do it because his time has passed.
Okay.
In that respect.
Okay.
Like you said, I think the opportunity was there. They've missed it. Probably missed it on several occasions, but obviously this last one was the most recent. I don't see them doing it. I don't see them circling back round to it.
I hear that. My number five is Montez. So I think for me, it's kind of just working out of those two, really. For me, I think it's just, for me with Montez, it's more of a hope than a realistic thing I see happening. I see him as an amazing kind of, in a realistic sense, as a mid-card, great mid-card, IC titles, all that kind of stuff. World Championship, I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. So I would argue still Montez at 5, because it's still less likely. Bobby Lashley, I think, still has a chance. I think you're correct in saying it's, again, because of time, it's kind of like, okay, will it happen? They pushed him, right next to Drew, and it was great, and all the rest of it. But how they're gonna get there again, and if they will get there again, is another story.
Okay,
that's the real question.
So I'm happy to put Montez forward at 5.
Okay.
He was my 4 anyway, and pretty much the same reasons that he is going to be a tremendous mid-card champion whenever that does happen. we will wait and see if he ever reaches the world title picture. I still think, I still think the first three has to be occupied by Keith Lee, Big E, and Bianca Belair. So
I don't disagree. You know, as I said,
just because, like Bobby I think Bobby's gone. Really,
Bobby was on number 2 because of time. I think to be very realistic about how things are and whether he will go back, you know, up to contending for a world championship, I think I'm more than happy to then drop him 2 places, Lord, to 4. Yeah, okay. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, Montez at 5, Keith at 4. It does make sense. I mean, not Keith, Bobby Lashley at 4.
Cool. All right. So we've got number 5, Montez 4, number 4, Bobby Lashley. Now it's gonna get interesting from here.
Now it's gonna get interesting.
Now that I think about it, using logic, really truly, Bianca Belair should be number 1, because I think with the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship, they're more invested in creating that long-term story as to who's going to, you know, win it at the big one, maybe, or whatever. Jinder Mahal has been maybe the last person I can remember that's really just picked it up out of nothing.
Out of nowhere. Yeah, of course, for sure.
So, and unfortunately, they pay that same respect to the Women's Championship. Like, tomorrow, they could just change that on Raw or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
And that's the only reason I'm saying Bianca Belair. Not necessarily that I believe it should be, but...
Right.
We're asking ourselves who is most likely, in terms of number 1, to become a future champion. Who's most likely?
I do honestly see it as Big E.
I think
because he's... Yeah, I think it's definitely... I think for me, it's definitely Big E because he has already shown how great he is.
Yeah.
In terms of, yes, it's as part of the New Day, for sure, and that's, you know, a little bit of a strike on his career, I guess, in this argument, really. But I would imagine Vince loves Big E. I know at one point, this is something that I heard. How true it is, I'm not sure, but I'd heard it more than once, that just before the Shield came about and we saw the rise of Roman Reigns, it was actually Vince that pushed and wanted Big E to be the guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise
me. I've heard that story more than once. So I know Vince is a big fan of Big E. He's big, you know what I mean? And contrary to popular belief, you know, Vince loves the big black guys. He loves them. He'd push them. I guess the pushback comes from all his advisors and TV and all these other different people. So for me, I think it is most likely that Big E would win it, would win the World Championship before anyone else in our list. Keith Lee is one of those people that ticks all the boxes, of course. And just the simple fact that he got pushed up to that main event like straight away when he came in tells you a lot as well. Again, another big black guy. Vince loves them. But it may be a little too early for us to say that it's a definite. Yeah. So as much as we want it to be a definite, as much as we feel it should be a definite, I think in the logic, if we try to think as if we were the board, it's a little less likely that Keith Lee would get it.
I feel that.
But then I think that then leads us on to... So for me, I feel Big E's number 1. It then leads us on to, as you said rightly, about Bianca Belair and the way the Women's World Championship is kind of, you know, seen or used or however you want to put it. I think it's most likely that Bianca Belair would become a Raw Women's Champion or SmackDown Women's Champion, possibly even before Keith Lee or Big E becomes a champion.
Yeah, 100%.
So for me, this is me. I would put Keith at 3, Bianca at 2, Big E at 1. That's where I'd go with it.
I think that makes sense. I mean, Big E, now that I even think about it, we're having this conversation, I think they may be giving us somewhat unentertaining feuds with Big E because they know if they heat him up, the Kofi Mania was a thing.
Right.
Big E Mania would be absolutely crazy.
Ridiculous,
like,
bro.
yeah,
Ridiculous.
everyone, like you said, everyone's kind of rooted for Big E to become world champion. We only rooted for Kofi to once it was kind of in our face already.
Right.
That was a possibility.
Right.
So 100%, I'm agreeing with Big E number 1. Bianca Belair, yeah, they could literally do that tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised, especially the way they write Raw.
Yeah, of
if
course.
Off the back of these vignettes, she just walks into a world championship match with Asuka. Not that I think she should beat Asuka first time round, but yeah, she really has the capabilities, and obviously that division is much smaller.
Yeah, true. That as
you
well.
know, she could be number 1 contender, next Monday, really and truly. So, yeah, I think so. And Keith Lee, 3rd, yeah, he came in hot, but it hasn't really worked out, more because of his presentation than anything. I don't know. Obviously, you've been seeing NXT. There's like this person that's going to return to NXT, former champion. These vignettes, and the person was pictured in both videos. Actually, they've been pictured on a motorcycle, and then Keith Lee posted a picture on a motorcycle on Twitter the other day.
Nah, surely not.
That's what I'm hoping. Like, don't embarrass the guy and send him back to NXT.
Nah, surely not. When I first saw the vignette, so it was posted on social medias, in the comment section, I've seen a lot of Bo Dallas. I've seen that name come up a lot. So I'm hoping it's not Keith Lee.
I personally think it's Ember Moon.
Okay.
I think it's Ember Moon because
okay.
She might be back from injury now.
It was supposed to be around this time. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and there may be looking for some other hands, in the women's division and stuff like that. I mean, other names are being thrown about as Samoa Joe, and I think people said Bobby Roode until he just appeared on Raw this week.
Yeah, of course.
So,
of course.
But yeah, I saw Keith Lee post a picture on a motorcycle. A light bulb went off.
That would
and
just
I said,
be weird.
You cannot send this guy back a month or so after bringing.
Nah, that would just be weird, bro. That would just be weird.
That's a low key burial, like
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
But yeah, all right. So yeah, I think we agree there. So I'm just looking at the list. Number 5 is going to be Montez Ford. Someone that we see having a very good career in the mid-card once he becomes a singles wrestler. And we hope that he one day reaches the pinnacle.
Right.
Bobby Lashley, someone that has deserved to be world champion for quite a while.
A long time.
And yeah, we're both looking at the clock thinking, is this going to happen before he calls it a day? That needs to happen. Keith Lee, someone that again could easily become world champion. I think he's just fallen down in the pecking order for me anyway, just because we're looking at who is more likely, and he isn't more likely than our number 1s and 2s right now anyway. Number 2 is the only female to make both of our lists, Bianca Belair. Massive ability, massive talent. Definitely going to be Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion one day.
It needs to happen soon.
It should have happened on NXT.
Dude.
But I mean, you could argue some of the people in NXT were, in terms of experience, I think that's our main thing. Shayna Baszler had more experience than her, even Kairi Sane at the time. She is someone that is kind of new to wrestling. She hasn't been around the world or anything like that. So, but she's definitely going to be a champion 100%. And number 1 is the people's favorite, Big E. Literally a matter of time when they're going to do it. We very early on speculated on episodes of Wrestle Extra that it could be as early as next Mania. If they go ahead with this Rock and Roman Reigns match, that might be a bit of a delay in it.
Of course.
Unless they, he switches shows or whatever the case, who knows? Obviously, there's a brand split coming up, a draft. Sorry, so it's a possibility, but I think Big E is the most likely Black future world champion that we have. And to be honest, I think that is pretty much across wrestling, not even just WWE.
For sure, that's a definite. We mentioned Ricky Starks in AEW. The only other person I can see as a possible, and I don't necessarily see it as a possible thing, is Scorpio Sky in AEW. Yes, we've got Will Hobbs, but it's way too early to speculate. Will Hobbs, completely way too early. Yeah. In Impact, we've got guys over in Impact, and Trey Miguel was kind of around that picture for quite a while at the start of the year.
What about Chris Bay? What would you say about Chris Bay?
Chris Bay, I don't see him as a world champion, and I know Impact is very different to the philosophy, I guess, or the common philosophy, I guess, with WWE in terms of it has to be a big guy and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see them doing it. I think it's probably again too early to speculate that as well. For now, as I say, Trey Miguel was around was around that scene for a while. He still hasn't even won an X Division championship, which quite surprising.
That's a bit mad.
Very surprising. They need to probably use that as part of his story or gimmick soon.
Yeah.
And then there's Willie Mack as well, Desmond Xavier. I don't see any of them in the current, how they've been used and whatever else as world champions in Impact just yet. Moose is probably the only person. He's a self-proclaimed TNA world champion. Yeah. So I don't know how official that is, but Moose is probably the only other person outside of Big E that is very likely to become a world champion in their respective respective promotions. Definitely.
Cool. Fair enough. So that is it, guys. We had a very similar list, as you could tell. It was just literally a matter of who was gonna go where, who was most likely to become that world champion, a future world champion. Thanks for joining me on this, ADazzle. You guys make sure you're following Black Wrestling Alliance. I'm telling you, if you care about black wrestlers, black wrestling news, and everything that's going on in our scene, this is the guy. This is who you need to be following on Instagram, on Twitter. Like I said, we have Wrestle Extra on this channel. Every Wednesday comes out. The video and the audio is available at Affinity Extra. Any last words from yourself?
No, man, this has been great. We can do it again. Any other lists, let me know, bro. I'll jump in and, let's talk it out, man.
No problem. So, thanks for coming on. You're not a foreigner here as well. We're going to be chatting next week anyway on Wrestle Extra. But I appreciate you joining me for this list. And guys, I'll chat to you next time. Once again, I'd like to thank ADazzle for joining me on this show to put together that list. Guys, make sure you're following Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, on Twitter. And like I said, we have a show on this channel every Wednesday. It's called Wrestle Extra. I've got a whole playlist for it. And the show is also played on Affinity Extra radio station. You can catch that on affinityextra.com. What did you guys think of the list? Obviously, we had some big names in there. Keith Lee, Bianca Belair made the list as the only woman to make both of our lists. What did you guys think? Is there anyone that we didn't think of that should be added? Let us know down below in the comments. And like I said before, guys, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. And if you're new here, welcome. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a new video. And that is it. WrestleManiac UK signing out. And I'll see you soon.